Alright, I'm back. So I just wonder if the country is, we're so divided over all these little, relatively minor issues that are blown out of proportion, and yet most of us have so much in common, and the politicians, they seem to concentrate on how to divide us rather than how to, unite the country. And I don't know how you fix that. There comes a point where, we put Republicans were in office for under Bush for 8 years. They certainly didn't act like Republicans. They spent like drunken sailors. And then the Democrats come in the last 2 years of Bush, don't do anything. Then they have Obama and the Democrats for 2 years as a total majority. They pass health care and financial reform, and spent. The Republicans spent like drunken sailors, and at the time the Democrats were complaining about how much Bush was spending, but then Obama comes in and spends like 4 times that much in 1 year. But that's okay. They're spending money like drunken sailors that are smoking crack. And it's got to stop. The spending has to stop. I don't understand why it would be so hard to go back to 2005 level spending. That's not that long ago, people. It's because the government, once they put in programs, don't want to cut them. You start a federal program, and it stays around forever and ever, and grows and grows and grows. And it's where I kind of agree with Ron Paul. We need to get out of that stuff. The federal government should be involved in printing money, national defense, interstate commerce, like highways and maintaining roads and bridges and things. And that's about it. Because quite frankly, they don't do a very good job of anything else. And it gets very tiresome. You're probably tired of hearing me rant about politics. Sorry guys, I don't have really anything else to talk about that I can think of. One thing I do want to mention, I'll have to annotate the name because I can't remember it off the top of my head. There is a woman that has been missing from Fairfield, Ohio. I think it'll be 2 weeks on Saturday. Basically, she vanished off the face of the earth. Her fiancé, they've been together for 6 years, met in high school, been together for 6 years. He was at her house, I guess, till about 11:30 or 12:30 at night, left, sent her a text message saying, good night, blah, blah, blah. She sent a reply. In the morning, he sent her a text message. She didn't reply. And sent another message, and she didn't reply. Tried to call her. Phone goes to voicemail. So he goes over to her, back to her house, finds her car there, her purse there, her car keys there, but she's not there, and her cell phone is not there. Police have looked into it. They can't find any evidence of foul play at the apartment. It's literally like she walked out the door with her cell phone and disappeared off the face of the earth. So, I'm gonna, when I put the video together, I can't remember her name. I'll maybe post a link if you and maybe a photo of her if you guys happen to see her. Because I mean, there's two choices here. Either she was overwhelmed with life. She had a lot going on. She was preparing to get married. She was a full-time student, 3 jobs. So she had a lot going on in her life, but evidently was handling it pretty well. And there's no evidence that she was feeling overwhelmed. But she did have a lot going on in her life. So the one option is that she got tired of everything and just walked out the door. But if that's the case, why would you not take your car and your purse? You know, if you were tired of everything and you just wanted to leave, you're going to empty your bank account, take your wallet with you in your car, and you're going to disappear to, you know, Alaska or someplace, you know, without telling anybody where you went. So the fact that her purse and her car keys in her car were still in the lot, untouched, it's kind of odd. Unless she just decided to hitchhike someplace. But again, why would you not take your purse? So anyway, the two options is that she decided to run away from life and disappear, or something bad happened to her. But apparently, they didn't find any evidence of foul play at her apartment. So it's almost like she left the apartment and something bad happened to her outside. But there again, you know, 12:30, you want a cup of coffee or you want something from the store that's up the street. Well, yeah, you might walk there, but you know, especially a woman, you're going to take your purse. You're probably going to drive there. But even if you don't drive there, you're going to take your purse. I mean, I guess it's possible she could have taken cash out of her wallet and just walked up to the mini mart and, you know, someone kidnapped her at the mini mart or something. But anyway, so I'll post her name, a photo, and a link to any other information that I can think of. Right at the moment, I can't even remember the poor girl's name. I'll post it, you know, and just spread the word. If you see her somewhere, you know, you make a phone call. Of course, locally, everybody thinks the fiancé did it. But there again, the cops have said he is not a suspect, so hey, I don't know. Nobody knows. She just vanished. But we've had a lot of violence in the Cincinnati area the last month. We've had 4 police shootings in the last month. That's more than we had all last year. So I don't know what the hell's going on, but you know, situations where, you know, cops are chasing somebody, they pull a gun on the cop, and the cop shoots and kills them, or at least shoots them. That's happened 4 times in the last month. One happened right in downtown Fountain Square. Young 16-year-old African-American guy. Apparently, they were trying to get into the Black Family Reunion Festival or something, and they had it gated off, and they were doing using the wands to check people coming in. And apparently these guys were wanting to get guns into the Black Family Reunion for some reason, so they were throwing guns over the fence. somebody saw them, called the police. Police came, chased this kid, chased him for a while. Chase ended on Fountain Square, right in the middle of downtown. And the 16-year-old kid turns around, pulls the gun on the cop. Cop pulls the gun, kills the 16-year-old kid. And I don't know what choice the cop had. You know, you get a gun pulled on. You know, somebody puts a gun in your face, you shoot. That's what happens. And the mother's all on there talking about, oh, he didn't need to do that. The cop weighed 80 pounds more than my little boy. He could have tackled him or something. And she kept repeating, he was a good boy. He was such a good boy. Yeah. 16 years old. He's already got a felony robbery conviction and an assault charge at 16. But he was a good boy. Unbelievable. I mean, it's sad. 16-year-old kid shot, you know, is always sad. No doubt about it. But the fact that a 16-year-old kid already has a felony robbery conviction and an assault is almost as sad. Another guy was, again, apparently everybody says he was a really nice guy, but got into an altercation with a cop, pulled a knife, cop shot the guy. The guy lunged at him with the knife, and I don't know if you guys know this, but a knife can easily go through a bulletproof vest, so in a lot of ways knives are just as dangerous as cops, or more so. Guy he was a 130-pound man, had a blood alcohol of like 0.35 something or other, and had marijuana and mushrooms in his blood as well. So he might have been a really nice guy when he was sober and not high, but there again, you know, the cop wants to go home at night and shot the guy. And there's been 2 other incidences. I don't think either of the other 2 were fatal. It was just that the cop was forced to draw a weapon and shoot. But I don't know. It's like they were talking on the radio that so far last year in Cincinnati, we had 75 murders in Cincinnati last year. Now keep in mind, the population of the city of Cincinnati is like 250,000 people in Cincinnati proper. We had 75 murders last year. Now, out of 75 murders last year, I want you to try to take a guess, see if you can figure out what the ratio of people murdered. Out of 75, how many people were black, how many people were white that were murdered? Sit and think about that for a second. Anybody have a guess? Well, I'll tell you the answer. Out of 75 people that were murdered last year, absolutely no white people were murdered. Every single murder was a black person that was shot. That's terrible. The violence that occurs in urban cities. You know, I'm not trying to be racial here. I'm really not, because it has nothing to do with the color of somebody's skin. It has to do with the situation they find themselves in, the way they were brought up, education. That has nothing to do with skin color. That has to do with those other things: education, the way you were brought up. You know, did you have a mom and a dad, or someone in your life that was a mentor to you, or were you left to the drug dealers on the street to teach you everything you need to know about life? And that's the problem, is that the structure of the family has been destroyed. Particularly, I think, in the African American community, you got a lot of young kids running around with no fathers, part-time mothers, none of the above. And, you know, they learn on the street. I mean, if you're on the street, you're going to learn from what's on the street. And who's on the street? Drug dealers, thugs, robbers, rapists, murderers. You're going to learn everything you need to know about life from the people that you surround yourself with. That's true of every person that I'm talking to. You learned your morals. You learn everything you know about life from the people that were around you from a very young age. And like I said, it has absolutely nothing to do with skin color. I know plenty of black people that are nice, you know, perfectly normal people. I know some white people that are absolute terrible trash. You know, it's not about the color of the skin, it's about the environment that those people find themselves in. And I blame the government a lot, and themselves as well. But, you know, the government allows perpetual welfare systems. The government allows perpetual public assistance on everything, you know. Live for free here, get a paycheck from the government for doing nothing. And when you grow up that way, you don't really appreciate anything because you didn't have to work for it. It's true. You know, plenty of white trash out there, too, that is in the same situation. But I think the difference with quote-unquote white trash is that most of the quote-unquote white trash still has an intact family, for the most part. You know, you still have a mom and a dad, and or at least you have surrounding family, you know, grandmother, grandfather, uncles and aunts and whatever. And so it doesn't really turn out exactly the same way. I don't know. I'm going to pause the tape because I think I'm on 15 minutes again. Be back in a second.